Hey YouTube, this is Darkmaster491 and I've got a new Pokemon 5th Gen battle special for you guys today. I've got a Stoutland special here with two different battles with two different Stoutland sets here, and so be sure to check these battles out, and I will have the description for each Stoutland set at the end of each battle respectively. So be sure to check those out. And as for our first battle here, this is pretty much a Sandstorm oriented Stoutland team for the most part. As one of Stoutland's abilities is actually Sand Rush, which is basically an ability that doubles Stoutland's speed when in the Sandstorm, pretty much. So it's going to be a pretty interesting battle, and definitely that makes Stoutland a much more formidable opponent. So check this battle here, as it's going to be kind of forceful to break through some of these counters, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, anyways, on to the battle, guys. And here we go. So my opponent sees that I have a Sandstorm team, and he's going to decide to, I guess, lead out with the Gliscor trying to counter me. And I'm just going to lead with Rotom Wash. He is going to begin by scouting to also activate his Toxic Orb, and I'm just going to go for a Hydro Pump to make him think I'm going to do the same that Scarfed, and bluffing that I'm going to go for the Will-O-Wisp next turn. And here I'm just going to Volt Switch, seeing that he's probably going to start setting up, and I don't want him to set up too much. And I'm just going to bring in my Sandstorm user here so I can get up a bit of setup of my own and hopefully try to take this thing out as soon as possible. He's actually going to go for a Leech Seed here, which is going to be a bit threatful, but shouldn't be too much of a problem as I can switch out in between. But I'm going to set up my Stealth Rocks here, and I'm thinking he was going to probably go for a Protect or setup or whatever. I just want to get my setup there anyway. So he's gonna go for Spikes. One Spikes is okay, not so bad. But Leech Seed is not so good. So I'm gonna try to take him out here. Hopefully it's gonna either take him out or leave him at a really low area. And he's actually just going to hit me with the Power Whip, which is gonna be decent damage there. And I guess he was predicting a switch or something. I would have thought he was gonna keep setting up some spikes, but instead he's just gonna kind of mix things up there. So anyways, I'm gonna switch out here thinking he might go for the Protect to stall me out some more, or I wasn't sure. Either ways, if his Ferrothorn died, I really didn't want him to set up on me with his next Pokemon, so I just felt that was a safe enough switch. In any case, good for me, and I'm just going to try to finish off Ferrothorn with Earthquake, but he's going to actually save it for fodder and switch into his Scrotum W there. Pretty interesting name, and shiny actually kind of looks like, yeah, okay, so anyways, he's going to go for a Hydro Pump. Pretty obvious there, so I'm just going to switch into Scrotum W, as I wasn't sure if I should exactly switch into Latios yet. And I'm actually going to Volt Switch on it there to see how fast it is. It's actually bulky, but a bit faster than me, so I'm not sure if it's spread or if that was really a speed tie. And right here, I'm actually going to go for a Trick, not a Draco Meteor, just because I'm thinking he's probably going to, obviously he's going to switch into that for fodder. But not only that, I want to release myself off of the Choice Specs so I can get the leftovers and also not lock myself into anything later on, so that's gonna be handy. And he's gonna switch in his own Latios, which makes me think his Latios might be Scarfed, or maybe he's, I don't know, bluffing and trying to play the speed tie. I don't know, but he's gonna go for a Draco Meteor here, and I'm gonna make a safe switch into my Stoutland and watch as this move gets pulled off. He's going to switch into his defensive wall, and I'm going to go for a Retaliate, which is a move that basically does double damage, as my opponent knocked out my previous Pokemon, which he previously knocked out Rotom Wash, as you recall there. And so as the next turn, as I send in my Stoutland and go for Retaliate, that move is 140 base, and plus the Life Orb did a ton of damage. So that's definitely did a ton of damage to that tank there. And I'm actually, sorry I'm a bit behind on the narration here, but I actually switched out, as I figured he was going to just Protect or whatever, or, you know, kind of try to stall me. So I'm just going to switch right into Latios and pretty much finish him off, since he doesn't really have anything to switch out into to cover that up there. So pretty much all of his walls are gone, so now I can pretty much try to get a sweep of my Stoutland. So right here, I'm not going to be Not gonna I'm just gonna let my Latios die basically, since there's really no more need for it in this battle. And Stoutland can pretty much kick some butt here. So I'm gonna go for Retaliate, even though he has a Gengar. I figured it doesn't really matter because I have Crunch. That'll knock it out anyways, so it's super effective damage. Crunch is definitely great on your Ghost type counters, which are not counters. So of course you have Crunch, and one more move here. Stoutland actually gets Superpower in Pokemon Black 2 and White 2, so that's definitely great to handle your Terrakion and other rock type weaknesses, and especially Terrakion, because there's really not much other you'd be able to hit with it. Of course, you know, obviously Fire Fang, Ice Fang, whatever Fang's not going to do anything to that thing. So anyways, right here, I don't have enough power to finish this thing off. So I just want to get a safe sweep with my Stoutland, so I'm just going to sacrifice Tyranitar since it pretty much did its job. Did a great job in setting up. As did the rest of several of my teammates, and I'm just going to finish off the Rotom Wash with Retaliate, which is devastating, so devastating, almost nothing can survive that. Look how much damage that does, seriously. Especially to Gliscor, that was amazing. So, I'm sorry guys. I'm just going to finish this Latios off, and that's going to be the game. So, you can, pretty much, you guys can see how destructive this dog can be. It's pretty crazy, especially in the Sandstorm, when there's no counters. I mean, you gotta bring like a rain team or something, because if you don't have anything to counter Sand, pretty much gonna get swept by this thing if you don't have any counters. So it's definitely a new destructive sweeper. Not sure. Can you call it the next extra drill? Maybe, maybe not. The only thing it really can't do is, you know, set up Sword Sense. It could probably set up Work Up and make something out of that, but other than that, it's kind of it's a bit different, but it can work depending on how you play it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that battle, and here we have the description here. So this is an Adamant nature Stoutland that I basically have 252 effort vies invested into its attack, 252 effort vies invested into its speed, and pretty much a remaining 6 into the HP, since there's not much else where I can put those EVs. So anyways, this is basically the standard Sandstorm sweeping Stoutland for the most part. And as you can see, its ability is Sand Rush, as I mentioned before, boosts the Pokemon's speed in the Sandstorm. So that basically means it gets a 2x speed boost from what its normal speed would be in the Sandstorm pretty much. So instead of 259, when the Sandstorm is in effect, its speed becomes 518. So that's a pretty devastatingly high speed that can outspeed a lot of, pretty much almost every sweeper in the game pretty much. So that makes it about the fastest Pokemon next to Excadrill in Sandstorm, which unfortunately Excadrill is banned. So basically this would be the next go-to Pokemon for your Sand Rush sweepers pretty much, since there aren't that many other Sand Rush sweepers in the game. So anyways, pretty much might not be as excellent as Excadrill could be. It does lack the ability to set up or things like that, but it can still definitely be a very powerful sweeper, as you saw in that battle. And Retaliate itself is quite a devastatingly move on its own there. So basically, as I explained, what Retaliate does actually doubles up after, as soon as one of your Pokemon gets knocked out by your opponent. Pretty much, this Pokemon takes revenge for a fainted ally, as it says. So normally its attack would be 70 base, but if one of your Pokemon fainted in the previous turn just before you use this attack actually gets doubled. So it's pretty crazy damage. It becomes 140 base, which is definitely devastating. And as you can see, that amount of damage it to Gliscor was just crazy, and I was able to actually make him worried about trying to start protecting and all that basically, and pretty much kind of threw his game from there, and was able to get rid of his wall a lot easier from that. But anyways, that was some pretty heavy damage, even to one of the most prominent defensive walls, Gliscor, man. That was pretty crazy. So anyways, pretty much that's basically what this move does for the most part. So other than that, we have 3 other coverage moves here. We have Crunch, Wild Charge, and Superpower, which are basically meant to take care of Stoutland's counters, of course. And Pretty much, this is obvious, but Crunch is there for its ghost type counters, basically, which is an 80 base attack as usual, and has an additional 20% chance of lowering the target's defense stat, which is pretty handy in case you make a sudden prediction and get a defense drop. That's pretty handy. Along with Stealth Rocks, it's all good, pretty much. So that all definitely comes in handy, and, well, yeah. That's pretty much it for Crunch there. And Wild Charge is basically for certain other counters that aren't as affected by Crunch or Superpower. Or basically if you don't have anything else to use and you don't really want to switch out yet, you can go for Wild Charge. And not to mention, it actually gets 4 times super effective damage on pretty much annoying Pokemon like Gyarados or I guess Mantine and Skarmory pretty much. So it can do a bit of surprise damage to Skarmory, which normally probably wouldn't be expecting a Wild Charge, but won't be able to stay there forever. It's going to be getting hit by those Wild Charges every turn. So yeah, basically what this attack does is smashes into the target and causes you a bit of recoil damage. So you just want to be a little bit careful when using this attack. But it's a pretty fair coverage move against certain Pokemon, as I mentioned, that the other 3 attacks can't do as much damage to. And one more move here. We have a new move from Pokemon Black 2 and White 2 that Stoutland actually gets, and that move is Superpower. So it's much better. I was actually going to do a special with Stoutland having Reversal originally, but didn't work out so well. But Superpower is definitely a much better move. This is a 120 base attack, as you guys are familiar with. It does lower your attack and defense, but it's definitely a surpriseful move and will knock out any pretty much rock type speedy sweepers like Terrakion, as you saw in the video. Take it for a surprise, and more than likely will be a one-hit KO unless it has some sort of bulk in it. But for the most part, it should be a one-hit KO with the Stealth Rocks breaking its possible focus sash. But other than that, this is a great coverage move for anything that wants to resist your other 3 moves there. So pretty much this 4-move combo basically will break almost any Pokemon that will want to try to wall you and your Retaliates or whatnot. So pretty much only thing you got to be careful here with this set is Pokemon that can protect, as that's the only thing that can pretty much stop your Retaliate strategy. So that's the only thing. Other than that, it's a very powerful move, and if you send it in on the right Pokemon, it's definitely going to be pretty devastating for damage. And well, yeah, that's pretty much it. So this is one of the next Sandstorm sweepers. Could be like Excadrill Jr. or something like that. I don't know. But it's definitely a great Pokemon to try out on the sand. Can be very powerful. So pretty much that's it for this description. So hope you guys enjoy the battle. And I have another battle coming up. Going to be pretty interesting. So check it out. Okay, so this next Stoutland set is actually going to be double battle oriented. And so of course things are going to be a bit different here. And as you can see, this is another 4 versus 4 double battle VGC style. And a lot of people have been getting into these VGC style battles lately. So yeah, hopefully this battle will inspire some of you VGC players to come up with some different ideas and new team styles for your VGC teams and whatnot. And also hope the rest of you guys enjoy this set here. So check it out, and I'll have the description after the battle. Alright. Alrighty, so got a double battle here against Arlie. I'm going to lead out with Infernape and Stoutland, while my opponent leads out with the Cresselia and a B-Sharp there. And my Stoutland's Intimidate was intended to decrease the B-Sharp's attack. However, it actually has an ability called Defiant, which is actually going to increase his attack. And right here, I'm going to predict the B-Sharp's Protect and go for a Fake Out and an attack, another attack on the Cresselia just to weaken it a bit and prevent it from setting up on the first turn there. And so right here I have a bit of an advantage, and I'm going to go for a Helping Hand with Stoutland to increase my partner Infernape's Heat Wave attack here, which should most likely kill the B-Sharp. However, unfortunately it has a Focus Sash, which I wasn't sure if it had. I would have thought it might have switched, or I wasn't sure if it had it, so I just took that chance there. And he's actually going to get a Psychic and an Iron Head off, which is not looking too good for me. And that boosted Iron Head is actually going to do a lot more than I thought there. Although B-Sharp does have a very high attack power. And right here, I'm going to predict a Sucker Punch and switch into Crobat, which is why I'm going to switch there. He's actually going to protect with his B Sharp. I guess he was predicting my Infernape to have a Vacuum Wave attack. He's going to go for an Icy Wind here, which is actually going to decrease both of my Pokemon speed. However, Crobat is actually fast enough that even an Icy Wind wouldn't drop it low enough to where, well, pretty much middle class Pokemon like Bisharp wouldn't outspeed after one Icy Wind. That's basically what I mean. So right here, I'm going to predict another, of course, a Sucker Punch, and I'm going to go for a Substitute, which Icy Wind hopefully shouldn't break. And I'm gonna what do you call it? I'm gonna Thunder Wave with Stoutland. I'm sorry, I almost said Protect, but I'm gonna Thunder Wave because wasn't sure if he was still thinking my Stoutland would be faster, and I didn't want him to Sucker Punch me. So I'm gonna go for Thunder Wave, which is actually gonna pretty much mess him around there. And right here, I'm gonna go for a Helping Hand and boost my Crobat's acrobatics with a Flying Gem, which is actually going to do a tremendous amount of damage and will completely destroy that Cresselia. So those double boosts definitely paid off for that. Basically, I'm sure that would have been a one-hit KO in any case. And I believe he actually predicted my Stoutland to attack, so he went for a Sucker Punch. And right here, I'm going to protect and go for a U-turn to kill the B-Sharp and switch out at the same time in case his Gastrodon, in case he decides to actually double team me and attack, try to knock out my Crobat, which I don't want happening yet. And I'm going to switch into my Blastoise. So Blastoise is a pretty interesting teammate of mine that I have here. I'm actually going to tell you now, Blastoise is actually Choice Scarf, so I didn't want my opponent to know that, but I wanted to switch into him in case he had some kind of a bulky rock type or something I needed to take out. And I was going to go for Water Spout, but he had a Salamence. So I'm not sure if he's Choice Specs. I already saw Focus Sash on his other teammate. He's actually Choice Scarf, so he's gonna go for a Draco Meteor, which is almost gonna kill Stoutland, but not quite. And I'll tell you mostly why is because Stoutland is maxed out in HP and almost has a maxed out special defense. So he's very, very specially bulky and has pretty much enough physical defense that Intimidate would pretty much tag very well with it. So fortunately, Stoutland did a great job, but he's going to go down here. Definitely did a great job. Won't let his efforts go to waste. So right here, I'm going to switch out and go for a Fake Out at the same time. Because basically that gives me a free switch. So that's awesome. And this is going to be the end of the battle here. I'm going to just finish this thing off with acrobatics and close combat. So that's going to be the game. And I definitely hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And, oh, I have the description coming up. So be sure to check that out, guys. So we have our next Stoutland set here. So this one's actually going to be a bulkier variation. And it's actually going to be another Careful Nature. Yes, I know I've been doing a lot of Careful Natures lately, but there's some pretty handy natures. And this one in particular is actually going to be specifically handy for Careful for the most part. As you can see here is an ability called Intimidate, which basically will compensate for its slight lack in defense that it would have for me not distributing enough EVs in its defense. So basically what I'm trying to say is you don't need as many EVs effort value into the defense stat, mostly because you have the ability to Intimidate covering up for you. So pretty much this ability lowers every single Pokemon's of your opponents on the field, their attack power pretty much on the turn that you send out Stoutland pretty much. So it's kind of a send in and lower attack and immediate advantage pretty much. So this thing can take quite a bit of hits. I invested it in 252 in its HP and about 152 in its special defense and 100 and I'm trying to remember, about 106 into his defense. That's not correct. I'll repost the actual EVs, but pretty much you can go with that EV spread around there is good enough, and you just need enough in its special defense, so it's about 275 to 279. That's pretty much good enough to give it enough bulk to take as many special hits as you might want to take it, and should be able to live a good super effective specially hitting fighting attack for the most part, since that's pretty much the only thing it's going to be weak to. So most of its other stats are pretty much fairly good for the most part. It has a base of 100 in attack, so pretty much you can stick on one physical hitting move like Return, which is its standard normal type move that'll do a pretty good amount of stab damage. I'll show you that in a moment, but yeah, it has some pretty diverse stats, so you don't really need to worry about EV training this guy in attack, since it's basically going to be a more supporting Stoutland here for the most part. I'll show you guys. I actually gave it a Return, Thunder Wave, Helping Hand, and Protect. Now this combination of 4 moves actually works relatively well in double battles, mostly because, well, not only because there's a support set, but one, they're meant to, well, of course, be used as a support set, and the second is that it's meant to kind of throw your opponent off a bit, in that when you use an attack move such as Return, they're probably going to be thinking, oh, he's just another sweeper with more bulky set, and they won't expect it to be going 2 ways. So not only that, but if you get taunted or anything like that, you know, you can't use your support moves, you can still go on with the Return there and get some, you know, rack up some damage, a bit of damage, and it has a good physical attack, so it can go about well with that. And this move is based on the friendship of between you and the Pokemon pretty much, and on a Wi-Fi battle that still matters. It doesn't get leveled up to, you know, its maximum. You know, you have to spend time with your Pokemon, you know, or if you have Pokesab, just set that to 255, I believe. 255 is the max for friendship. But basically, getting a bit off topic there, but the max attack that this attack can have is 102. So 102 is its highest base that it can possibly have. So pretty much it's the same base as Earthquake, and it's a pretty good move for the most part, you know, for coverage or whatever. Do I want to even say coverage? But I don't know. It's a good move. It's stab. What can I say more than that? So next move here we have is Thunder Wave. Basically, that move, as usual, will quarter any Pokemon's speed that any Pokemon that's hit by it. Its speed into quarter of its normal speed, and adds that, you know, 25% chance of hacks as usual. And it's handy in double battles, as it can kind of annoy your opponents a bit there, and either make them want to switch, protect more, or, you know, screw around with their predictions pretty much. And our next move is Helping Hand. So as you saw in the battle, that actually boosts the attack power or special attack. It doesn't matter. Any attack that your partner is throwing out, it'll give it a 1.5 boost. So that's definitely very helpful. And especially with Crobat's acrobatics and a flying gem. So that's definitely, all those boosts do get added together. So that's definitely handy to throw it all into one attack to blast out a tank in one shot, or, you know, close enough for the most part. It's definitely great in, you know, really denting out tanks that you really need to take out in double battles, since, you know, of course you can't use it in single battles to any use at all. But in double battles, definitely handy in taking out really annoying tanks. You know, just don't be too obvious about it. You want to kind of make it a surprise as to what attack you're trying to combo with together. But definitely with an attack like acrobatics, you'll be getting 100 and what is it normally? 55, so it gets doubled to 110, and also you're adding a 1.5 boost from the flying gem, so that's about 165, I guess, and add another 1.5 boost, and that's about 247.5, something like that. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's about 247.5. Plus Crobat's flying stab. So that's a tremendous destructive power. I don't know what else can I say. What other word can I put in for there? But it's just, that's just godly. Like, seriously, that amount of power. But anyways, yeah, that's definitely a surprise combo that you can use to take out a certain number of my your opponents or whatnot there. And whoops, sorry about that. Let go of my thing there. Anyways, and your last attack here is going to be Protect. And Protect is definitely handy in double battles for the most part there in general, because Protect basically protects you from being hit by all attacks pretty much. I'll show you there. And pretty much you want to use this kind of unsuspectingly. You know, don't make it too obvious, but you want to use it where you think your opponent's going to knock you out. And it's generally one of the most over-abused attacks in double battle, but, you know, it's definitely helpful to have on your Pokemon, any of your teammates or whatnot, and can help for scouting or, you know, things like that pretty much. So it's definitely a great move. And can also be used to help with setting up. And I'll definitely show you guys some other double battles where it's more useful for the most part. But as for this is pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this set, the battle and whatnot, the whole battle video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and leave some comments as to what you thought about these sets. And I will be definitely having more coming soon as usual. And my next video will more than likely be a battle video with pretty much my Leopard special. I'll be having that coming up in about 2 weeks, more than likely, since I don't have too much time on my hands. But I will keep posting whenever I can, so be sure to stay tuned, and hope you guys are enjoying my videos. So yeah, don't forget to press that like button, because that helps to get my battle videos out there, and some more views, and helps me get a bit more famous out there on YouTube pretty much. And I'll definitely have a lot more coming. Alright, stay tuned for more.